Hey everybody, welcome to the Podfathers Talk. I'm your host, MD the Money Dad, with my co-host Luis Romero. So we're excited to be back, man. Episode what, three, four? I'm kind
Three.
of losing track, man. Three, yeah. So, man, like I said, last time we were talking about money. Let's kind of pick up where we left off. Money's a topic that we talk about a lot, and it's because we're the business we're in, right? Like when it comes to money, and now being a father, right? Your new father, your son's about to be one. How important do you think money is? I don't know if it's fair to say, but let's say, is it more important to a man that, he provides and takes care of his family? I kind of feel like that sometimes. Or is it like, is money something that every man, has to learn how to handle and grow? Like, as being a father, has your view about money changed a little bit?
Absolutely. But identity, I think what because it sounded like you were describing identity. I believe that everybody should have a foundation of what you believe a man is, right? Before anything, I will always say this, I'm a Christ follower. And the reason being is because all my decisions are done through that lens. As far as money, yeah, it's instilled in us to provide. You feel better. You walk better when you know business is going well, when you know that the investments accounts are growing, when you're investing and you're just making money moves. Absolutely. Money's a tool. At the end of the day, it should not define you. Like if you feel like the way that you address being successful is by how much money you have. That's one area, but there's so many different areas that make you successful, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, money is a tool. Don't become the tool though. I think with money you can do whatever you want, basically, right? But just make sure that you're the right person holding the money, the bag, right? In my opinion. So yeah, money's important. But it's okay. Well, how do you define yourself first, and then how do you use that money knowing that it is a tool, right? And you can multiply that tool as big as you want to. And if you were, because you became a dad, what, in 2021,
2020, COVID, man.
2020?
Yeah, we were busy.
You know, so let me ask you, because before the girls came into the picture, your two daughters, it was you and Crystal, and
Yeah.
you guys, you had fun. I
Yeah.
mean, like you talk about, you make the first time you made $10,000 in a month, you were in your early 20s.
Yeah. 21.
Yeah, so that's a big deal, back in your dinosaur days,
Yeah.
whenever you were,
Yeah. Yeah.
20,
I'm not that old.
whenever you were making $10,000 a month, like, how is it different now that you gotta think about your daughter, you get to think about your daughters, and you
Yes.
get to plan out some of their accounts and futures and what the things that you wanna accomplish for them, but how has your view of money changed from when it was just you and Crystal, and now it's you and your 3 ladies?
Yeah. So one of the things I always admire about my dad is no matter what, and he's even a better man today, but he's always, even though I grew up with an alcoholic father, right? Always drinking, he always provided. So I felt like a man's job is to provide for a family. I know some people may disagree with that. That's my personal opinion. I really believe that. I'm sure that you believe the same thing. Doesn't mean a woman can't. It's just my dad always did it. So making money was like something important to me, right? I think that, like you said, don't have your whole identity in it, but it was part of mine. Like if I didn't do that, I felt like I was a failure because there was times where we didn't. When you start a business, you don't always make money, and if you do, great, right? But we didn't always make money, and then as you made more money, you tend to spend more. So now the view, to get to your question, the mine has just really, I focused more on, okay, I want to make sure I leave them something. I don't know if I want to leave them everything, and the reason why is I think there's value in learning how to create your own, right? But I would love to leave them if I could on third base, or maybe even have a whole couple score home runs already on the board for them. So I tell people this all the time. I go, I'm going to leave them with a substantial amount of money, but once I hit that goal, I think we'll hit it before they turn 20. But once we hit that goal, I'm gonna do it. Like after that, I'm gonna spend everything. I'm gonna
Good.
spend everything. I'm gonna give it all away. And when I mean spend, let me make sure I correct that. Give it away, right? I'm gonna help a lot more people, but definitely I'm gonna take care of my family first, man. And I tell people that I think that's important. So once you have kids, I think you realize that it's not about just making money for your generation, right? Yourself, although you should take care of yourself, right? I don't want my kids to have to take care of me down the road, right? But at the same point in time, are you stacking the deck in your kid's favor if possible, right? If possible. So, but also like we were talking about this the other day. Um, you know, when you have the potential to do that for your family, how do you not spoil your kids? And I know that was something that you're like, man, how am I going to do it? Because you got a son, I got two daughters. So like, I guess the world, right? Let's say, but also biblical. Like we're supposed to instruct our kids,
Right.
right? So how do we instruct them when we can give them anything kind of they want as far as from a possession standpoint, right? How are you feeling? Like, where's your mind at on this as far as being a dad? Like, okay, I can do this, but should I do this? Right. And I know he's only about to be once, you kind of give him whatever you want. And if you don't give it to him, his grandparents are going to give it to him. Right. But where do you feel like might be a challenge in the future, you think, if you think you're going to run across a challenge with
That I will
raising your
forget my words,
yeah.
because right now until I mean, I see it now. It's like I'll say something and we're gonna do this and you
Oh,
start
yeah.
to plan out the things of how you're gonna raise them. And I mean the fundamentals are going to stay the fundamentals. But it's so funny because I've caught myself saying we're not gonna, let him watch this and or he can't have none of this. And I'll be forgetting. Now my
Yeah.
my wife doesn't have like me short-term memory loss.
Yeah. She's like, you
Yeah.
remember?
I was like, yeah. No, but it's like ice cream. Like I was the other day, I caught myself giving him some vanilla ice cream, and she looked at me and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? It's just ice cream." She's like, "It has a lot of sugar." It's the importance of not giving them sugar. So obviously, it was something that we agreed on, and I think my wife is, man, she just when I want to go off the rail, she's the one that puts me back at center.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll be forgetting, but I have the wife that I have, and she reminds me. But I wanted to add something to you as to why we can't let money be the way that we identify ourselves. And I know we kind of moved on from this already, but I want to bring it back because it came to my memory. A very close person, individual to us, kind of had like a little crisis there. He was involved in a big accident. He can't really work. He's recuperating in a wheelchair, and he was just, depressed. And I got home from appointments and I went up to him and I was like, "What's going on?" And he just started to share it. Like, he went from working, 10, 10, 12 hour days to healing. And he's just like, I feel like such a burden on
Yeah.
people. I'm so used to working, providing, and I kind of like looked at him and I was listening to him and then I stopped him and I said, "Okay, you talk to me about what you're not doing,
Yeah.
about why you can't do it,
Mhm.
but what can you do right now?" I was like, "Can you hang out with your family? Can you,
Gotcha.
where can your time go?"
It's a
Right?
different role for him right
Right.
now.
So
Yeah.
he has to adjust. And it's like, that's why you can't neglect your family. Don't neglect your business. First, don't neglect God, your family, or your business. I think those are the three things that make a lot of my identity. And if at any point one of them is I feel like it's failing, or like I feel like my worth is not there, then
Yeah.
I start to ask questions like, okay, what's my new role in this part of whatever season I'm in? And I think that's what I helped them kind of establish is like, first of all, ain't nobody telling you a burden. If nobody's charging you, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't worry
He's
about
seeing
it.
that himself. Yeah.
Like, don't worry about it. It's your time to be taken care of because people that providers, it's so weird for them whenever somebody else provides for them.
Yeah. To be taken care of. Yeah.
Right, but that's who God is. God says, "I will take care of you.
Yeah.
I got you." Right, and so, and sometimes God will humble us that way, be like, "Let me take care of you," and you're like, "No,
Exactly.
if you don't
That's what
let
happened
me."
to him.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so and I saw he was lost in his identity for a bit, and I told him, "Hey, you made the money already. You raised the kids. You did what you had to do. Let us take it from here." And then if we need your help, we'll say, "Hey, jump in." But for right now, you're good. So yeah, money is very important, but don't let it be the all thing that defines you. That was my thing that I was gonna tell. And as far as not the new money, right, and the kids, I think it's gonna be fun. I think yes, in some aspect, I'm definitely gonna spoil them, like vacation. I've never been one to be like, I'm gonna buy you the nicest, $5,000 T-shirt
Yeah. Flashy showing off. Yeah.
because that you can make your own money for that. But whenever we go out, and I'm not going to tell my kids how to spend their money, the one
Yeah.
that they earn. As far as whatever comes from me, if it comes from me, then I have a say so.
Yeah.
So my stance will be that if I'm the one giving it to you, there's conditions, and if you don't want the conditions, go make your own.
Yeah.
So and obviously how you stack the deck is well how imagine how long it took me and you to have what we have. can we condense it in a year for them? Like, how can we get them faster? I think that's what stacking
Yeah.
the debt is. The deck is, it's like, how can we help them get there faster? Because
Yep.
that's what my parents did for me. The way that my parents stacked the deck for me was not through money, even though they got a little shum, but they got a lot, but they got a little shum. My parents stacked the deck by bringing me here,
Yeah, opportunity.
by never shutting down my goals. When I left school to come to Primerica, they were never like, no. They just said, the only thing we ask of you is that you work. If you're gonna be at home lazy, we're gonna have some issues. And then when I decided, it's whatever I made the decision, I think that they gave me sound advice and they let me experience it. And I think that's why, I'm joyful now, right? So, but it, think about, what about you? Like, you say I don't, and you're a big time spender. So, and you like flashy things. So,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you gonna do it with two other girls? Because if they go after like you, man, you need to be like at 100 million already.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what the good thing is with my girl. So again, usually if you're a spender, hopefully you don't marry another spender, right? Because then that's a problem. But two is like I think just like a lot of people need to make mistakes in their life, I've made a lot of mistakes with money, but I've also learned, like, hey, you can do this. It's about delayed gratification. I think that that's my problem. It's never about spending money. It's about delayed gratification in almost anything. Because like if I did 10 push-ups, I wanted to have I wanted to be fit already, right? And I think a lot of people, it's not do you have that? It's how much of that do you have? I think it's a spectrum because like you've been patient of like the only reason you got a new phone is because your other one broke, right? And your insurance gave you another one. Me, I had the new phone every single year for like the first decade, but now I haven't bought a new phone in 3 years, right? I'm about to buy a new one, right? So it's like I waited 3 years, but it's like, and I think that's success too. Honestly, like if we teach our kids anything, is part one of the three biggest qualities I think of successful people is the way they're able to delay further than the average person. Like they understand, like I'm going to start a business, right? I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna have kids. Like, it's not always gonna be the greatest journey ever. There's gonna be tough times, right? And that's in everything. So I think very successful people, financially speaking, especially, they have the ability to wait. For example, I'll give you an idea. I have a client that has like a million plus in investments with me. And let's just say, again, this is just for educational purpose only. This is not financial advice. Let's say he made, I don't know, 20% on an investment portfolio. 20% of $1 million is 200 grand. So he potentially, and again, this is just he made about that much, if not more, but he made more money with me than he did at his job. So his nephew ran into some money, right? I told you about this story, and his nephew gave us some money. We started investing, and he's been up with me about a year now. But his investments didn't make 200 grand, right? They made like 20 grand, which is still pretty good. And he said, "Hey, how come my uncle made 200,000? I only made like 20?" I go, well, 20% of a million is 200 grand. 20% of 100,000 is only 20 grand, right? Like the more you have, the more it multiplies. And I think people have to realize that it takes time for your money to grow. It takes time for your marriage to grow deeper. It takes time for the relationship with your kids to get deeper. Just like, again, if you've been listening to our podcast, I think they're only going to get better and better and better because we're going to be inviting some more people on here. We're just, talking about a few things here and there. But I think people, especially even myself early on, I've gotten a lot more patient is they're impatient. It's just that they want it now because they look to the left and look to the right and they see people with all these nice things. And it's okay to have nice things. The question is, again, what do you value? Because if you have the nice phone, if you have all this stuff, but you have no money, like it makes how you feel versus I've also had money and I'm like, I can buy 100 of those phones if I wanted to. I just don't want to buy them. And I think that's the I don't want to call it peace because I think true peace only comes from God, but I think you're just not as worried whenever you have money. And I know people are like, well, money doesn't buy happiness. Well, being broke don't make you happy either. You know what I mean? So like just be smart and you can start that way. I think real quick, I'll finish my comment with this is if you want to learn how to get better in every area of your life, lay your wants and take care of your needs and push those off and make it a game. How long can I wait? Because the longer you can push it off, the more disciplined you are. I tell you all the time, and I know you didn't have this in your 3 things. I was hoping you were gonna say number 4, which is your health, right? Because now that we're not crazy old, man, but we're getting older, like, everyone knows as you get older, it's just scientifically proven that you might have to do a little
We
bit.
get finer.
You can, yeah, like wine, right? You might have to work a little bit more on your health than you did in your 20s, right? To manage stuff, right? Keep things in check. And if you don't take care of your health, you'll end up spending your wealth to get your health back, right? So, like, for example, health. We all know this. Fit people tend to push off all the bad stuff that we tend to say yes to right away. Broke people tend to say yes to all the bad stuff that wealthy people tend to push off for a period of time. So it's that old saying as Jocko Willink says it, it's discipline equals freedom, which means if you're disciplined for a period of time, you can be free forever. Or you can be free right now, and then you're gonna have to discipline yourself later because you got to pay the price sooner or later, right? So let's jump into the topic of success because me and you, we don't define success like the world does. They're always just looking about money most of the time. And again, this is not everybody. What are some common traits? So give me like 1 or 2 things that you see about people either that you met, you work with, friends, right? That are, I guess, just normal things that it seems normal to them because they're successful, right? It's their traits or their characteristics that they have. And we can kind of wrap up with some of these questions here. What are 2 or 3 traits that you see in all successful people that are, maybe some people can catch on and learn?
Their belief, the belief that they're going to, that their time is coming, it's unwavering because it is. Everybody gets turns in life, and I've seen it. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in other people's lives where they consistently show up, they work, they do what needs to be taken care of. They don't get the applause, they don't get the big, contract life changing thing in that day.
Yeah.
And it's like that saying when like, how did you get so lucky? It was an overnight success story. It's not like that. We understand that there's a lot of years, a lot of time, a lot of work that was put into that overnight success that came to fruition. It
Yeah.
was because of everything else that you did. So, if one of the traits that you're asking would be the unwavering belief that they have
Yeah.
that what's theirs is theirs. And so that's one thing. The other thing is understanding joy comes from within.
Yeah.
It's, emotions. It's like understanding, and I've always told you this difference between the state of being and how you're feeling. They're
Yeah.
two completely different things. Your state of being can dictate how you feel and can manage it much better
Oh, yeah.
than the way you feel. And vice
Yeah. Because
versa.
feelings are fleeting, they come and go.
Right. And it's one of the. I mean, personally, I enjoy that 1 minute at my house, we can be enjoying, frijoles, tortillas, and cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like very, very,
Simple.
simple, flavorful, and everything. And the next, we're having a $200 steak,
Yeah.
and in both times, it's not what the money bought because money comes and goes.
Yeah.
It's who were you with when you're enjoying or breaking bread?
That's true.
Like that to me is what matters. If you ask me, it's not how fancy the dinner is or the lunch is.
Yeah.
It's like who are you there with? Who are you there to celebrate with? Who did you take with you? Or did
Yeah.
you climb the mountain by yourself and now you're up there by yourself? It's two different things. So successful people, in my opinion, they have an unwavering belief that they're gonna win. And the second part is they're the right ones, the ones you want to listen to. They're just joyful people.
Yeah.
I've seen people that have succeeded, that have accomplished goals, and there's still something up their butt that they just,
Yeah.
it's like, can you enjoy what you prayed for? Can you enjoy what you asked the Lord for? And,
Yeah.
because whenever you don't enjoy what you've prayed for and worked for, you're kind of telling God it wasn't good enough,
Yeah.
you know? And I might not be at that level. And, people will say, you got to get obsessed. Yeah, you should, when it's that period of when it's that season. But are you telling me your whole life is about that obsession?
Yeah.
It's like, when do you just kind of like, hey, thank you, you know?
Yeah. I have a story with that real quick. I heard, I don't know whose podcast is on. If somebody has it, tag it in the comments, but he was sitting down. He was actually, it might have been The Psychology of Money, the book Psychology of Money. So he was with a whole bunch of hedge fund managers, and these people made like 700 million a year, right? If you look it up, hedge fund managers, crazy. So like he was around all of them, and he was sitting down with a friend, and he said, "I have one thing," because they were talking about, happiness, money, kind of what we're talking about right now. He says, "I have one thing that none of these guys have or none of these guys can buy." And the guy's like, "What is it?" He's like, he was very interested, right? Because these guys can buy, a freaking island if they wanted to. He goes, "One word, enough." And when he said that, it hit me really hard because I'm the kind of guy like what you just kind of said is just like and again, I was taught. This is not necessarily my belief. Sometimes you got to ask yourself, do you really believe what you believe or you're saying, or are you just someone else's? I think a lot of times, especially when I got in business at 18 years old, I was just copying people, right? And it worked in high school. That's how I graduated, right? But again, in business, you copy and it works too. But the problem is you might get some bad beliefs. It's like there was never enough, right? Like if it's like if it took whatever it took to be number one, I was gonna do it, right? Even at moments where it can compromise what you think is right or wrong. And I tell people that's a dangerous place to be because when you value money more than people, when you value money more than your relationships, again, there's somebody probably listening to this like, hey, who the hell cares? Again, I was there. I'm trying to tell you, like, people used to tell me, like, I would sit and hear Lewis and he's like, it's about who's there. I'd be like, bro, it was like, what are we eating? And I think a lot of times what happens for people is that they don't set clearer goals or they don't know what they truly want. So we copy other people. And that's why you end up empty because you get it and you're like, this didn't do it because it wasn't designed to do it. Like I say, it wasn't for you. God has something in store for you. First of all, your relationship with Him, but He has something in store for you. He knows what you want. He created you, right? And it's crazy because you're wanting what everyone else wants. And sometimes you want it to impress those people too, right? So those are two good characteristics, man. Is there one more that you have that you think like that's pretty common in all successful people?
The one for more.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing,
It's
right?
a paradox. It's a
Yeah, it's
paradox.
like when is enough,
Yeah.
and then I got and
But that's what I'm saying. You
it's
know,
moments, right?
yeah. And for if you combine all three, it's when I remember when I was in primary. I mean, I remember the days when I couldn't afford the air I was breathing.
Yeah,
And for some reason, God always sent someone to feed me. The provision's always there. So many people think because I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, I'm not going to get this. It's like you forget who you serve, and if you've accepted Him as your Father, who your Father is. It comes. So it's to me, right? So going back, now I'm getting off topic. It's they know they're gonna win. So it's
the
they
belief.
the belief that they're gonna win no matter what. The joy that's within them, no matter what circumstance comes their way, they're gonna either they choose to be happy, they choose to be joyful, they choose to face life as you should. And then the third is, I mean, so which causes you to enjoy the moment. So the second one causes you to enjoy the moment, stay in the moment, and just be thankful of the moment you're in. Because, like they said, if you're in a bad, if you're having a bad moment of life, just hold on because it's gonna turn around. And if you're having the best out of life, just hold on because something's coming. So as long as you remember that no matter what comes, you're gonna be okay. Nobody makes it out of this this
Oh,
life
man.
alive, right? So we
Yep.
know that. And then the last one is okay. Once you're like, okay, I enjoyed it. I'm thankful. What's next? Because I think that's what keeps us alive. It's
Yeah.
climbing those mountains, going after things. Like it just keeps us, okay. This was my scene, the part of life I was living. But what's next? What's the adventure, right? What
Yeah.
what is the adventure I'm on next that life is trying to take me to? So it like I said, it's a paradox. It's you got to be able to enjoy it when it's a time to enjoy it, and you got to be able to click it back on when it's time to work. So it's to me, it's that very successful people. It's that they know they're going to win. They enjoy. They're joyful people, and they're joyful givers by that. And then the last one is putting it back on when it's time to get back to work.
Yeah, and that's crazy because like, I think, like you said, that second one allows people to understand what we're talking about. It's like there's nothing wrong with wanting more, but understanding you prayed for the moment that you're already in. Like you said 5 years ago, when you make 200 grand a year, you were gonna be happy. And then now you're making it and you're not happy. It's like, well, bro, oh no, because you keep moving the goalposts. And it's okay to move the goalposts, but don't forget to thank God for all your blessings. But I think that's also Man, I'm not, and I every time I say I'm not trying to push my faith on you, I guess I am, whatever, right? But I tell you like that's where if you have a foundation in Christ where you're just like, dude, whether it's great, whether it's bad, the story of Job, right? I'm gonna praise you. I think that's the ultimate thing because if it's great, I'm gonna praise you. If it's bad, I'm gonna praise you because I know at the end of the day I'm gonna be taken care of. And that's where me and you kind of come from. So it's a little easier for us to understand that,
Mhm.
right? When you don't have a foundation in that and your foundation's in money or something, it's like when my bank account's high, I'm excited. When my bank account's bad, down, or when everybody's praising me, right? My wife said something amazing the other day. She said, I want to be so rooted in God that no praise or criticism from man can ever shake me, right? And I was like, whoa, because I've heard criticism. Like I've heard that no criticism and no weapon formed against me will prosper. But when she said no praise, I was like, oh, because that's dangerous for somebody like me that likes the praises, likes the you're doing awesome and stuff like that. Because it's like, wow, that could be just as dangerous. You think criticism is dangerous? Somebody might tell you you're so great, you might actually start to believe it. And you are, but why are you so great? Who made you? Right?
Mhm.
So, man, that was powerful.
It's like that other video that I saw on social media, right? Who's greater, the created or the creator?
Yeah,
So it's gonna be the creator.
100%, man,
Um,
100%. So, cool. Well, let's start wrapping up. Like I said, one of the biggest things is we're gonna have people coming in, man, and we're gonna have a lot of great friends of ours. By the way, every time we bring somebody in, I always tell people we're gonna bring somebody in that we know is gonna add value. Again, a lot of ours is just conversation because we know them so well. But at the same point in time, if you have questions, you can always put them in the comments on the videos. Right? We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and you can put a comment in the YouTube video are on the bottom and just say, hey, I have a question about this and a question about that. Cause we are licensed in the financial industry. Now, there are some things we can and can't say. So just to keep it, kind of clear, we might not be able to go over every question, but we love having the audience, man. Thank you all, friends and family that follow us as well. We know you guys play a big part in our success as well. So thank you. Lewis, you got anything you want to say to everybody real quick as we wrap up?
Come get licensed with us.
Yeah. Come get licensed with them, man. We just opened a new office about 90 days ago, maybe 120 days ago now. The office is moving fast, and we will license 100 people in the next 6 months out of this office. So we're excited for that. So if you want to get licensed in the financial industry, you want somebody not only license you, but train you and help you, right? And understand what in the world you're doing. We're building an army to teach people what insurance companies do not want people to know because they're out there taking advantage of a lot of people, and you can potentially get paid a lot of money to do it. So, again, God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next episode.